Hey everyone, Ridden here, and thank you for coming. And tonight, we're going to be taking a deeper look at episode 4 of season 1 of Marvel Studios' The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Welcome back everyone, and once again, it's that time of the week, so let's get to it. Resuming where we left off last week, as most of us expected, the show picked right back up in the interaction between Bucky and Ayo, after giving us a brief flashback 6 years to Bucky's time in Wakanda, where he's finally healed and set free from his Winter Soldier mental imprisonment. I've been really looking forward to the continuation of this scene, as I was really interested in what kind of prior relationship would be established between the two. Along with Shuri, it would seem Ayo was also instrumental in helping to free Bucky, hence making for an even more intense moment as she scrutinizes him for freeing King T'Chaka's murderer. And the acting by Sebastian Stan here was great, as I really felt like I was watching Bucky Barnes rejoice in the moment of realization of his freedom from the Winter Soldier and not Sebastian Stan acting. It makes sense that the Wakandans wouldn't forget Zemo's transgression, and I love the fact that the clock has started ticking on Zemo and their judgment. The show also does a very good job of relaying the burden and shame King T'Chaka's death would have lain on the backs of the door that were present for it, so that we the audience can completely understand their gripe. I must also say, I am continuing to enjoy the chemistry amongst our trio that we see in their lounge spot, as well as when they go to get information on Danya Madani. Zemo continues to add charm and flair to the mix every time he's on screen, and his inherent nefariousness keeps us on our toes, as we never know what he'll do next. As we've seen in previous trailers, we do know that at some point Sam does eventually manage to get his one-on-one with Carly, but we didn't know the context of how that would take place. Now we do. After Zemo manages to gain intel using his son's favorite treats, Turkish Delights, we're led to the location of Danya Madani's funeral, but not before John Walker and Battlestar catch up to the gang and, predictably so, accost Bucky and Sam for breaking Zemo out. This was actually a pretty cool moment to me, seeing the trio joined by Walker and Hoskins, as I can't say this is a collection of characters I would have ever expected to see on our screens together with a singular mission. And I love the way that slowly throughout the episode, starting here, we start to see John Walker's slow descent into chaos. I know that many of us expected as much of this character, but it's still just as thrilling watching him lose his grip and descend into his comic mold. While I do believe the core of his character to be a good man worthy of all of his accolades, the serum, as it has been stated several times up to this point, just makes you more of what you are. And if Walker has been able to maintain a certain repressed anger his entire life, him injecting the serum obviously can't lead to anything good, right? Before getting into the interaction at the funeral, I want to also state that I really like the angle they've chosen to take with the Sam and Carly characters, as Sam makes very good points when explaining to Walker why him going in to speak with Carly first could be the best tactic to use, as he literally ran a veteran relief group prior to his involvement with the Avengers. So this type of thing really is in his wheelhouse. He sees her as just a kid fighting for what she believes in, which he actually believes is a good cause, but he just doesn't believe in the way she's doing it. While Zemo sees her as a supremacist and a plague, and just a continuation of this superpowered individual complex and problem. Which led to one of the cooler moments in the episode when Bucky asked him about Steve Rogers, as he's the exception to all of the bad things Zemo believes about super soldiers and individuals with powers.
The serum never corrupted Steve.
Touché. But there has never been another Steve Rogers, has there?
Come to think of it, Zemo had it pretty rough this episode. First being tailed by the Wakandans, then almost getting pummeled by Bucky over his leverage of the location of Danya's festivities.
Want to see what someone can do with leverage?
And then lastly, John Walker smacking him in the head with the shield later, which led to a scene that I really appreciated for the continuity of the show, as we see Zemo winging it off with a towel on his head after being brutally knocked out. Sam and Carly's discussion was also a highlight of the episode, as we get to see more of the rationale behind her actions, as well as, I believe, us being able to see Sam becoming more and more the man Steve knew he already was when he handed him the shield, as instead of going in with brute force and not thinking the problem through, he's trying to handle it on a human level, which seems like it was almost working until Walker came barging in, setting Carly off on the run. Probably one of the most crucial moments of the entire show takes place next, as during Carly's escape, Zemo corners her and wounds her, leading to her dropping the remaining vials of the serum she retrieved earlier in the episode. This moment had most of us on the edge of our seats, as it toyed heavily with the implication of his comic ties, as Zemo picks up a vial and stares at it as if he's contemplating what to do next, before he smashes it and begins stepping on the other vials on the floor. But then this happens. Which leads to this moment. Which was both exciting and a bit scary all at the same time, because from this point on, I was pretty sure he was going to take it. And all of this happened before quite possibly one of my favorite bits of the show thus far, and that's when John Walker and Hoskins pull up to take Zemo, and he almost gets in a fist fight with Sam, but not before he's interrupted by the Dora Milaje calling their judgment due on Zemo. Which was then followed by several awesome takes. As we see Battlestar get woman handled, Sam actually doing a pretty good job of handling his own, and Walker getting completely obliterated.
Looking strong, John.
Ultimately leading to the shield and him being rendered useless as he's struck and tethered to a table. Following that, we got a cool moment of Ayo showing Bucky who's boss as she completely dispatches his arm from his body, and he just looks completely lost and hurt. This was cool as it makes sense that she would know all the right pressure points to do this, as his arm is vibranium and was gifted to him by Wakanda. And after handling him, Ayo calls him James.
James.
So yeah, that happened. We even get to see the connection mechanism as a whole when he goes to reattach it, glowing with purple energy. Walker at this point has been completely shamed, and is even more so when a Dora Milaje member mounts the shield as if taking back her own possession, before leaving it as Ayo instructs, but not before smirking first. Keep in mind, the shield is vibranium, originally acquired by Howard Stark, so the Wakandans would have due cause to feel that it belongs to them. But it was at this moment that I knew John Walker would then take the serum.
Super soldier.
This all provided the perfect opportunity for Zemo to escape, leaving all parties empty-handed. Closing out the episode, Carly calls Sarah to arrange a meet with Sam, but not before threatening her and the kids, which of course leads to a very angry Sam along with Bucky pulling up on her for answers, but only to figure out after being tipped off by Sharon that the Flag Smashers are going to trap and kill Walker, which led to a pretty cool botched takeoff moment by Sam as Carly rips him from the air. One of the better reveals I've seen was definitely Bucky entering the building and seeing as clearly, at this point, John Walker has taken the serum and all hell is about to break loose. One thing I would definitely like to point out about this scene is that I believe it was very intentional by the showrunners to show Sam and Walker side by side engaging super soldiers at the same time, as I believe this was meant to show the audience that, hey, Sam may not be souped up, but he can in fact still hold his own, as we see him fare just as well in combat here as Walker. And although Carly and the Flag Smashers seem pretty dead set on killing John Walker and removing the symbol of the shield, they all seem rather shocked and taken aback when Carly accidentally kills Hoskins, which I really didn't get. The episode defining moment, and what we close out on, is clearly the scene that we've been building to for a very significant portion of our show thus far, as well as what gave the episode its namesake, The Whole World Is Watching, as John Walker, filled with rage after Carly kills Battlestar, runs down a member of the Flag Smashers we saw with Carly earlier in the episode, retrieving the vials of serum, and murders him in a very public and ruthless manner, as we see everyone with their phones out as John straps the shield back on, which is literally stained in blood. This might just be one of the most iconic photos thus far in the MCU. The irony of this moment resides in the fact that earlier in the episode, this member of the Flag Smashers told Carly how much he used to look up to Captain America and the shield and what it stood for. to only be killed by that very symbol. I am very intrigued to see how this plays out next, as the public opinion on Walker will either nosedive, further sending him into a spiral even more so now that he has serum in his blood, or they will applaud him, which could embolden him even more. All of this makes for fantastic possible storylines in the last 2 episodes of the show, as now Bucky and Sam have an even bigger problem to add to their list, being handling Walker, Carly, and the Power Broker, who I assume will be revealed next episode. And at this point, I am definitely leaning towards that being Sharon, as when we see her speaking with Sam earlier in the episode, she's walking by legions of armed men as if it's nothing. And where does this now leave Carly in the Flag Smashers? Their numbers are fixed now that there is no more serum, and they're already 2 members down, and being hunted by another super soldier with a vibranium shield and a score to settle, as well as the Power Broker. I gotta say that I'm really enjoying the complete difference in show running we're seeing with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier in comparison to WandaVision, as it gives me hope that we can expect different experiences from all of the MCU Disney Plus shows. Where WandaVision managed to shock and bluster the audience, scaring everyone into theorizing any further, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier has pulled no punches and dropping comic reference after comic reference, and has left very little to the imagination outside of the identity of the Power Broker and in-universe statuses of Steve Rogers and T'Challa. I will of course be continuing to cover this show here weekly on my channel, and if you feel so inclined, I would love to have you back here next week to continue to cover it with us. Again guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and click that bell for notifications if you've enjoyed our content here tonight. Jump down in the comments and let me know your thoughts, and while you're at it, be sure to check out some of the other content here on the channel. All of the necessary links are listed here below for you to keep up with the coming content and shareables. Please be sure to follow me on all social media platforms or just the one you use most frequently. We are slowly but surely building a community here, and I would personally love for you to be a part of that. And last but not least, we have a merch store. So whether you see something you like or just simply want to support the channel, head on over to our shop and grab something, or grab everything. But again, thank you so much guys and gals for visiting here with us today. I really appreciate each and every viewing minute of your time you've given us. There's loads of content we'll be sending your way, so I'll be seeing you. But for now, be blessed. And it was written.
Across the nighttime, the city sleep inside. Yeah, hear her voice, shake my window, sweet seduce inside. Yeah, send me out into the nighttime.